have a speed up / speed down.
Right.
That's pretty straightforward.
There are 4 levels. You can be really, really fast.
Yeah.
We do not recommend anything over 2.
No.
don't get that number 3.
Yeah. And then finally we have the power up for your main shot.
Yes.
And that's another 4 state. Once you get 4 of those power ups, then you'll be maxed out. And then with each subsequent collection of the power, you get 10,000 points. And that goes the same with all the other options.
Yeah. So the first power up just gets you a stronger shot. Then the second power up you get adds 2 more options to you. So then you have 4 options hovering around you. And then the last one is just straight up power, and then you're maxed out.
And then you're maxed out after that, right? And then this game has bombs, and I mean, we don't have to explain bombs.
Yeah, these bombs are just dumb bombs. They just explode everything on the screen.
Right. These bombs are not so much offensive as defensive bombs.
Yes. Well, sometimes at the boss.
Sometimes.
But yeah, it is just
for the most
nuke
part.
everything on the screen. But one thing that's unique to the bombs in this game, they last like 3 seconds. So it'll do damage and kill everything on the screen. Small enemies, obviously. But then you'll have a little rainbow halo around your ship that'll last for like 3 seconds. And during that time, even enemies that weren't on the screen, when you drop the
Hey guys, this is Brad, and this is Skycurser Daily number 18. We are just coming back from MGC, Midwest Gaming Classic, and we had a really good time at Midwest Gaming Classic. I want to say a special thanks to Trickman Terry, Sushi X, and the rest of the team from the Retroids. I'm thinking specifically of Paul and Retroids, VG Evo, and Score Chasers. They did a great job hosting us, and of course the Sheridan and MGC did a great job as well. We were in the Retroids room with Trickman Terry, Sushi X, and the rest of the team from the Retroids. We were also able to be in the same room as the guys from the Galloping Ghost. Got to see Doc, got to see Doc from the Galloping Ghost, got to see Zespi from Logan's Arcade, and also got to see Scott from Retrocade. So really good to see you guys. Also, we got some really good feedback while we were there. It was a really good demo for us. It was the first time I was at MGC, and just really glad to be there and really glad to have our cabinet with us. Had a good group of guys from Chicago who normally go, it sounds like, to the Galloping Ghost and visit their arcade, and I guess they have a large section of shmups there. So, you know, perfect for us because we have a shoot 'em up, and these guys came and played the cabinet for a while and gave us some really good feedback overall. So want to say a special thanks to those guys who reached out to us while they were there. Not only the guys that we saw from Chicago, but a lot of other people. I was very fortunate to meet a gentleman from Finland, and also got to talk to, and I'm thinking specifically of him. He was part of the Neo Geo forums, and we had multiple other members of the Neo Geo forums come up to us and say just how great they felt when they played the game, how they liked the gameplay, and also gave us really good feedback overall. So it's just a really good event. Got a good chance to talk to, of course, Trickman Terry and Sushi X and see what they're up to with VG Evo. They basically have a podcast network, in case you're not familiar with it, where they are doing a great job hosting different podcasts for arcade games. So that was really awesome to talk to them. Also got to talk to a couple of guys named JT and the Hambone. They have their own podcast, and these are them right there. JT and the Hambone. They are big into shmups, and they were there and gave us some really good feedback. They have a lot of experience playing and playing different shmups, and so it was really good just to pick their brain and just let them kind of let us know how they felt about it, and just give us some good feedback. So guys, for everyone who was there, for everyone who got a chance who we got a chance to talk to, I'm thinking also of Quan Gwen, specifically with I'm trying to remember the exact name. He's built the Omega system for Neo Geo. I think it's arcade. I'm drawing a blank, but I'll look it up here in just a second. Quan did a really good job of kind of walking us through how we could proceed forward if and when we're ready to take our game even from the arcade to the Neo Geo. So I'm thinking, let me look him up real quick. And I want to make sure I get his name right. Quan Gwen. And I'm thinking specifically Neo Geo Omega. Arcade Works, yes. Okay, I wanted to make sure I got that right. So Quan was really awesome. I got a chance to talk to him, and he just was able to give us some good feedback. And Quan has been big in the Neo Geo scene in terms of helping the community play arcade boxes on, or basically the arcade version of any Neo Geo game through his system. So thanks a lot, guys, for everything. So based on that, we got some good feedback, like I said. Namin, how's it going, man? Hey. So based on the feedback that we got, I just want to take a little bit of time today, address as much of that as I can. Some of the feedback was related to the software and the gameplay. That's what I'm going to address. Some of the feedback was related to the cabinet and what we could potentially do better there. What's up, DeBeasley? How's it going, man? Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. Yeah, man. Namin, I'm really glad to be working on this. We've been working on this project for a little bit over a year. If we boil that down to if we were actually working on that full time, which is about 40 hours a week basically, we would probably have close to 5 months of time in on this game if it was our full-time job. So unfortunately it's not. It's unfortunate because we love to build this game and we're having such a good time and getting such good feedback from the community. So yeah, we're just in a good place with it. I know, DeBeasley, man, I was just saying we were just having a great time. If you missed the very beginning, DeBeasley, when this exports over to YouTube, or even after I hop off today, go back and watch the beginning. I got a chance to talk about some of the connections we made, and was just super pumped to have had those connections. Namin, thanks so much for the follow. Very appreciated. Yeah, glad to see you're a GMS developer too. What are you working on, Namin? So yeah, today we're going to address some MGC feedback that I can address, and some of it will be very easy. Some of it may be a little bit more difficult, but overall I think we should be able to knock most of it out, and if not, we'll at least put our heads up against it and figure out exactly where we should go next with this. So if I get all the way, if I get all the way through MGC feedback in today's stream, I can always go back to moving on to the next step of our code cleanup and deduplication of code, which is just mainly focusing on object inheritance in GameMaker. And we were specifically focusing on all of the enemies in GameMaker and making sure that we not only had the create event doing object inheritance on most of the enemies, but also the next thing for us is working through the step events on all the enemies to make sure they all inherit where possible from the parent. So, because I haven't gotten a chance to upgrade with GameMaker, we're going to do this together, and I want to make sure that you guys can see what it is that we're working through in order to upgrade. Now, I was faced with this window a while back. Awesome Namen. I'd like to hear more about him. So I was faced with this, of course, this upgrade screen a little bit ago, probably about 2 weeks before MGC started. So I've been ignoring this for a while. The reason being because I've upgraded with GameMaker in the past and have had game-breaking changes, so I've had to revert back to GameMaker. And now that MGC is over, we're in a good place to go ahead and upgrade and see if there's anything that breaks and see if we can address it without worrying about the stress of the project not being fully up to date. Good news, as I was talking about MGC and the feedback that we had 0 game-breaking bugs that occurred. So it's always a little bit nerve-wracking when you're doing a demo and a bug breaks the game, especially when there could be, multiple people in line getting ready to play and you have to stop for a minute, either reboot right where it is and hope that it doesn't break, or stop and make an update via your laptop and then go back over and, re-upload the game and get it working. So that was really good, though. A full 2 days of won't ever go to GMS. A full 2 days of playing on the arcade cabinet and 0 game-breaking bugs. So we were all really excited about that, and so we're in a position now to address a couple of the ones that we saw and address some of the feedback. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and install updates. Well, actually, let me not install updates. First of all, we'll go play through the game, kind of make sure everybody's on board, can kind of see how it works. Just show you that right now everything works without any bugs, and then we'll go ahead and do the update together and see if we experience any bugs along the way. So just to show that we're in a good state, let's go ahead and hop into GameMaker and play right from the top. We'll shrink that for a minute, minimize it. So GM8 sounds like GameMaker 8, and I don't know that I've used it. I know that I used the initial version of GameMaker, and then I eventually upgraded pretty quickly because I ran out of resources that I could use. So I'm not sure the difference entirely, to Beasley. Okay, so we're just compiling at the moment with the current build, and we'll go in. I gotta also make sure that I'm on keyboard mode. Looks like I am, so we should be good as soon as it boots up here. And it's almost finished. Usually takes about half a minute to a minute the first time after I start Game Maker to boot up.
Skycurser.
Okay, we're going to go in game, and I'm just going to play all the way through for one round to kind of show everything's working, and we'll see what happens when we upgrade with Game Maker here in just a minute. So far, so good. Everything's looking good. Thanks, Naman. Yeah, that's our art director guy. He's really talented. He's been, an arcade gamer for a long time, and this is kind of a passion of his. The pixel art that he does. It's really awesome. And those stupid eyeball missiles. Alright, here's the boss of level 1. Of course, if you followed us up to this point, you know that we only have one level complete. We've spent a lot of time on this level just to get the game mechanics right and just the overall game engine, get the feel of Game Maker in general. This is our first arcade game that we built, and so we're just trying to make sure we do it right. Spend the time it takes to read documentation to get it right. So there it is.
Mission complete.
Boss defeated. Everything's looking good. Put in our initials. And of course, this is part of the programming. Also, I could push start on the screen. I'm going to let it play through. It should just kind of go back to the main screen. And then one last check that we'll do is once we get into the menu screen, it should move over momentarily to basically a track mode / demo mode, which is using a specific video player plugin but that should work correctly. Everything should look pretty nicely there. It doesn't break out of the game. You can still use objects in this mode, so you can overlay the screen with things like press start or insert point. Pretty much everything looks pretty good, as you can tell. It should jump back to the menu here in a second. So there we go.
Skycurser.
So that's it. That's mainly the game and where it is up to this point. I was going through here and I was thinking of one more update that I can make here, and here's kind of the feedback that I have on deck from MGC. And one of the other things that I wanted to address was the initials entry screen, specifically the advance of the cursor. I'll call it the cursor advance. Basically, instead of only letting the user push over, we want to allow them to hit the fire button after they've selected their initial to go forward. So. And we'll just do that with the Vulcan. It'll be the fire button of the Vulcan cannon. So, and here in the near future, we're probably going to change the mechanics of the buttons as they fire. Anyways, right now the mechanics are 3 different buttons, and we're probably going to end up doing so. Each one of the 3 buttons is a different weapon. One button is the Vulcan cannon or the minigun. The other button is the shotgun, and the other button is the katana blade. So probably what we're going to do is just have a primary button that will do the primary weapon that's currently displayed. And then somebody will hit the player will basically hit the transition button, and the button will change weapons, the change weapon button. And when it changes weapons back to the primary button, that will be the one that shoots both the Vulcan cannon and the shotgun. And the third one will always just be the katana, so the player can use the katana whenever they want. So in conjunction with the Vulcan cannon and the shotgun. So. Let's start with the upgrade. So let's go ahead and kill Game Maker at the moment, because I'm pretty sure they're going to tell us we have to. Don't save any changes. We didn't really update anything. And then let's go ahead and install updates. So we will finish the download here in a minute. So we're doing good, pretty good at the moment. And so it looks like we've about got the full download. And let's do an install and relaunch. And basically, the reason, again, like I said, I didn't want to update before MGCs because I've had game-breaking changes before after an update, immediately after an update. And if that's the case, I want to be able to address them without a lot of pressure or stress. It's pretty stressful having to downgrade the current version that you have and going back to what finding the previous download and downloading that and making sure you're back up to date and that everything works again. The other way you could fix it potentially is that you could, figure out what it's complaining about and then fix it. But the problem is when you have a major upgrade in software, there should be nothing that breaks previous versions unless there is some major documentation around it. And when I've done that in the past, I didn't see a lot of documentation around the game-breaking changes. So I was pretty upset about that, and I'm going to be in a much better place right now because there's no big events coming up, and so we'll just address whatever comes up at the moment. So Naman, if you don't mind, what projects you're working on? What are they? 3 different games? You working by yourself on them? Download's still in progress here. I'm still seeing what you're seeing. MP. I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head I know what that is. Maybe I should. MP. Multiplayer, probably. I'm guessing you're saying multiplayer. Okay, so I just got the download. And that, of course, should be on my desktop. Or maybe it goes straight into it. I guess maybe it just goes straight into it. Let's check. So if you're asking if Skycurser has multiplayer, and I think that's what you're asking, the answer is currently we do not, but we got a lot of feedback at MGC that has made our guy who's basically our game designer so small there's no way. So basically, we are in consideration for doing multiplayer, and we're basically trying to do it in a non-standard way, not to make it difficult, but that will also go along with the storyline. Right now, the storyline is that basically, and this is definitely not going to do the storyline justice, but Guy Griffin, of course, he's the last human on Earth. He's fighting off the Necrostar and all of the mutants that the Necrostar spawns. And so to add a multiplayer, you have to pretty much get creative with it. And we've got some pretty good non-standard ideas on how to do that. Nauman says, yep, all by myself. First game is a remake of an older Game Maker game called Super Crate Box. Another one is a 2D side-scrolling survival game that's super early. Then the other is an idea that's really hard and weird to explain. And DeBeastly Bros talking about our size, the size of our screen, which is in 320 by 240. Specifically, that's the exact size of the screen that an arcade monitor handles, like the old CRT screens. That's yeah, and it's a very small resolution. So yeah, let's see. Oh. So the answer to that, though, to Beastly, is that yes, you could do multiplayer if you wanted to. There are some other things that we could do, but yeah, when it's 320 by 240 and it's connected to these older CRTs, you can have basically like a 27-inch or 25-inch old CRT, and the picture blows up to the entire size of the monitor. So there's plenty of room for somebody else or for one player to move around on the screen. When I change it, when I get into the game and I go play at 320 by 240, I let that take over my entire screen. So it already does some full screen action on my monitor right now. But yeah, to answer that, basically. We could do something, and it doesn't feel as restrictive as you might think with the 320 by 240. Okay, so looks like we're here. Now we're just going to do one more playthrough real quick and see where we're at. Make sure everything looks and feels good. See if anything breaks, and you guys will definitely experience my pain if something breaks, because you'll see exactly what I was talking about. Now, I'm hoping this latest update hasn't caused anything to fail, but we'll see. So right now I'm just waiting for another update, or I'm waiting for the game to compile. Alright, still waiting. It's compiling. It's going in. Alright, here we go. This was the first compile on the new version, so it seems like it took a little longer than usual, just like the first one did. A little longer than usual for the second one of them. So far, so good. I'm going to go into meat mode really quick to test that out first. Now, I didn't show this the very first time, but usually we can find bugs very quickly. And boom, there's a bug right there. Now, I didn't show this the first time, but for sure there were no bugs at all at MGC. So let me make sure you can see my monitor. Give me 1 second. So here it is. We have a game-breaking bug on the update of the software. Copy. Abort. I'll make sure that you can see the game in a minute. And I want to get open my text editor. Okay, this is my newest bug. Of course, we have an issue, so I'm not surprised here because this is what happened last time. I should have gone into meat mode just to test it, so I could show you guys that everything was working. But this for sure is a new one. I'm sure if I go into regular mode, you saw me play all the way through regular mode, basically story mode. And so what I'll do is I'll go through here in story mode, and I bet you that we can also cause another bug to occur in story mode with the new updates. So you should be able to see the game. Let me just verify.
Skycurser.
Yeah, I see that you're not seeing it. I know what it is. It's the update of GameMaker that has caused us to not be able to see the game. So give me just a second. I'll adjust that. Okay, so we're going to update.
Skycurser.
That does it. Sorry guys, I'm working on it. Give me just a second still. Watch and see what happens when we get out of that game. Which one disappears? Let's try. So we got GameMaker here. So I'm switching over for a minute, just a minute, guys. Properties. So nothing's here. Let me try to hit play again. It's just troubleshooting together, so just give me a second here. Phrenology. Yeah, I know. 1 second. We're working back and forth here. I just updated GameMaker, and I'm having to go through and make sure that the game capture is working. So I'm kind of doing it live, so give me just a second. I think I'm going to get it here in just a minute.
Skycurser.
Okay, I see what's happening here. Oh, that's frustrating. So basically, GameMaker now runs these videos as, or these games as admin mode. So I have to do a restart and run OBS in admin mode so that OBS can capture the screen for Skycurser. So that's what I'm going to do really quick. If you guys can just stick with me for a second, I'm going to restart the stream. It's going to be, of course, a little bit annoying and choppy when I have to push over to YouTube, but not a problem at all. Just split it off into 2 different sections. But so stick with me for a sec. I'm just going to restart, and I'll be right back.